If I want to build my first AI agent in n8n in only 10 to 15 minutes, here's exactly what I would do. So first things first, you're going to want to go to n8n.io. It should look like this. And then if you haven't created an account, you're going to just click on Get Started, where it's going to ask you to fill out general information to create an account. Once you fill out your information, you should see a home page such as this, which is your dashboard. And the number one thing you want to make sure you see is your own instance. So my instance here is called Pink Wolf, and I'm just going to go ahead and open up my instance. Now, what I've decided to build today is something that is repetitive. So I get asked this question a lot. Second, it is just fun. So it's a really good use case for that. And third, it's easy to build because it has all of the information I need is on the internet. So the use case I have chosen is a question that my husband asks me every single morning, which is, hey, what is the weather going to be like today and what should I wear? We have the internet. We have lots of things, but I have been chosen to be the person for weather and outfits. So what I'm going to do today is build an agent that goes and finds the weather, highs and lows of the day, and then is smart enough to recommend my husband what he should wear based on what the weather is going to be like today. Okay, so once you've entered your own instance, you're going to click this big orange button that says create a workflow. Quick thing, if you didn't know it yet, I share AI tips and weekly insights in my newsletter. If you want to stay ahead in AI, subscribe at sadiestLawrence.com. Now, what is incredible about this is you can do it manual and the old-fashioned way, which is essentially adding together all the nodes that you would need to be able to do this. Or we can build with AI. Which one do you think we're gonna choose? I would say the easy version. Let's build with AI. We're going to describe here is exactly what I just described to you. Okay, so here's what I asked it to do, which is a little bit simpler version of what I just described to you, what I want the agent to do. And I said, I want to build an agent that checks the daily weather and creates an email with the highs and lows and any storm/rain, then provides recommendation on what to wear for a man who is business professional, works in tech, and likes to be trendy. Why I like working with the n8n AI, even though it's only in beta, it will go and find all of the nodes to get you started. Just that alone is going to save you so much time by thinking about how it should be connected together. And you can always edit and modify from there. All right, so it has started a workflow for us. And you can see that we have the trigger. So anytime you're building an agent, you need to trigger it with something. And from what I described, I want to build a daily weather. So the trigger here is a time. So I can click on this and it says it's going to be triggered every day, one day. Right now it's at 6 a.m. If I want to change it, I can just easily click change it to 7 a.m. and I'm going to leave that. So that looks good. And then it has a workflow configuration. So I'm just going to double click this and it opens it up. And it looks like here it's mapping some string fields. But before I do that, I can see there are these little red triangles, and it says that I need to map my credentials for Open Weather Map and Anthropic. It also says the same thing down here in the chat. Well, it has put together this workflow. I need the credentials for this. However, we have some options. So you can definitely go in there and add your credentials, but most importantly, I want to talk about this larger node right here, and this is the AI agent node. If we zoom in to the AI agent mode, we can see there are some key subcomponents. One is we have the chat model, we have the chat memory, and then we have the chat tool. And on this one, we even have an extra one, which is the output parser. What do these three things mean? The model, the memory, and the tool. Every agent, and this is really important, what makes it an AI agent are these three components. It uses some type of model, it has memory, and then it can use tools, and we let it pick what tool we want it to use. Now, since I was using the n8n AI to build this. It selected the model for me. What happens though here is I don't want to use the Anthropic model because I want to use the ChatGPT model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this here, and then I'm going to add my own model. And you can see I have a lot of options to select from. Again, I have open source ones, I have Google Gemini, but personally, I'm going to connect to the OpenAI chat model. Now, you can see I've already connected my account here, so everything should be set up and good to go. Now, for this, I don't have any memory necessary. And what I mean by this is each day, the weather changes. And so because the weather changes, I don't need it to remember what the previous day's weather was. However, if I did, let's say I wanted to add a memory component, which was like, if the weather was the exact same the previous day and you recommended the same outfit, make sure to change it. What I would do here is I would go to the memory and then I would select one of the different memory stores. So I can use everything from MongoDB, Postgres. These are all really common, popular databases. They also have for beginners just a simple memory, and this is great because you don't even need to have any credentials. So if you want to add a component where your agent remembers what you worked on the day before or from previous triggers, this is a great way to get started, and you can always expand from there once you have your own database set up. But for now, I don't need memory for this use case, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. For the tools, again, what's great about n8n is it's going to show you the options of what tools are available. So we can see everything here from, I could give it access to Airtable or Asana, AWS Lambda. There are tons and tons and tons of different tools. If I needed to just use a calculator, if I wanted to use ClickUp, I can have it do that. Think of tools like you're onboarding an employee, where the tools are going to be what you're giving it access and credentials for. For example, if you're in marketing, you are probably going to get access to Canva. However, people in finance probably don't get access to a Canva subscription. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know how things work at your company, but these are just kind of the common themes. So just as the same way with a company, what this agent does is going to need access to different tools. And so you need to give it access to those tools based on its role. For me, in this instance, I don't have a lot of things it needs access to other than searching the web, getting the weather. And then here I have a special section in my AI agent, which is how to structure the contents of the email. And so this is an additional tool, which is the output parser. So I'm just going to open this up, and here I can see that it's just taking the different properties, the data that's coming in from the weather API, putting it into sections of email. If you don't know how to read JSON or don't know how to read code, that is completely okay. You don't even have to worry about this node because, again, we are using the n8n AI tool, and so we can ask it questions and ask it to modify back and forth. Now, again, to show you the difference in terms of the modifications we can make, I do not want to go in. I don't particularly like creating just endless accounts. So I don't want to go in and create a credential for this get weather data. So what I'm going to ask it to do is I'm going to see if it can replace the get weather data node with just a search the web node to get the weather data. Okay, so you can see now we have replaced that node with just a search the web for weather node. However, it is giving me some updates here in terms of what I personally need to update to have this work. I need to update my location, and I also need to update my email. So that is in the workflow configuration. I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. So the location that I'm going to have it put in here is Sacramento, and then the email, and then for the name, I'm just going to put my husband. All right, so let me have it execute this step, and it looks correct. It shows a little output here, which I have location, recipient's email, and recipient's name. So you can see here, I executed this step up until the workflow configuration. What is green is the daily weather checker. So that's my trigger for the time. And I want this at 7 a.m. I have, the city, where it's going, and I'm gonna have it search for the weather. Let's see what happens when I execute this step. Okay, so here it's showing the authorization authorization failed and I need to check my credentials. So let's see what is going on. Again, what is fantastic about using the AI, it gives me options to resolve this matter. So it's saying that I still need an API key, and once I add this API key, then I can get it to work. So we can see the first 3 nodes executed. Currently, we have our AI agent. Yay! We made it all the way to green, and it says the weather email has been sent. Okay, so let's check our email. Here we go. I sent it to myself. You can see your daily weather and style report. We have the weather, today's outfit recommendation, accessory, and special considerations. All right, so we need to figure out why we aren't getting the information. Our email looked good, but again, troubleshooting, we want to make sure that we get the information that we need. So we can break down where it happens. So we open up our agent and we can see the prompt that it gives us. We can execute the step to make sure it's working. That looks like it is all working fine. I have the daily weather, what the temperatures are like, clothing recommendation, accessories, and then even some special considerations. So overall, that looks good. Where it may be breaking down is the structure of the email content. So that was a great test. We got the email, which is success. We have the headers. We can see that the OpenAI model is working, but where did the text go? So we're just gonna ask our AI agent to see if it can fix it for us. I got the email, but there was no text under weather summary or outfit recommendation. Please fix. Let's see what it can do for us. And we see we now have a subject. Yay! Daily weather style report recommendations. I can see the weather summary, outfit recommendations, accessories, and special considerations. So what we have just built is a really incredible agent that goes out, searches the web daily, finds that information, consolidates that information, takes that, provides recommendations, restructures that into like a really cute, friendly email, and then sends that email out. For our agent, we had it use a model. We didn't have it use any memory or tools, but we did have it parse out the content so that it can look really nice in the email that we structured it with. This is just one example of thousands. I picked this example because it's something that I deal with on a daily basis, where my husband asks me, what's the weather and what should I wear? And now I built a special agent that can answer that question for him. That's it. You just built a working AI agent with 0 lines of code. If you want to go deeper, I share AI tips and weekly insights in my newsletter when I'm not busy teaching AI to Fortune 500 companies. Now, if you still don't know the new features of Notebook LM, check out this video to see the insane updates.